Patel. I work for Western Digital System Software Research, and along with me we have John Hauser. John is an independent researcher. He is the lead architect and the main author of the AI specification. So this is the brief outline of this talk. We'll start with AI specification overview, and then talk about ECLINT specification overview. And then we'll talk about how both AI and ECLINT can be used in future platforms. And lastly, we'll talk about the detailed software status of AI and ECLINT specification. So let's begin. So we'll start with the motivation and overview behind the AI specification. So almost all existing platforms today have the RISC-V PLIC, which is originally Sci-Fi PLIC. It's widely used right now, but then there are obvious limitations which people have found over time for with Sci-Fi or the RISC-V PLIC actually. So the first is that it consumes a large amount of physical address space. Even a single PLIC instance, simple PLIC instance for 4 hearts requires more than 2 MB of physical address space. And worst case, it can go up to like 16 MB of physical address space usage. The global registers of the PLIC, which configure the priority and has a pending interface, are actually shared between the M mode and S modes, which means that only one of M or S mode can actually use configure this registers actually. And if this were to be shared between the M mode and S mode, then S mode will require some SBI calls, right? So which becomes more complicated. Then the other limitation is like the configurable IRQ line sensing is not supported. Currently, most of the platforms have this thing hardwired. The IRQ line sensing type is hardwired in the platform itself. And then MSI is not supported because like PLIC only supports wired interrupts. And interrupt virtualization is also not supported, partly because PLIC was created at a time when there was no virtualization support in RISC-V architecture as such. So AI or the advanced interrupt architecture. So AI tries to address all the limitations of the PLIC and as well as also adds new features. The link over here is the latest draft of the AI specification. So the slide also shows some high-level design goals for AI. Some of these are like it's designed to be scalable across large number of parts. It defines functionality as optional components, and then MSIs are supported. Interpolation is also supported, and the specification as such is quite stable now. Complete POC, proof of concept implementation, has already been done on QEMU, and no major changes are anticipated at this point. So the spec actually defines 3 optional modular components, namely the extended local interrupts or the EIA CSRs that we call it. And then there is a incoming message signal interrupt control, or the IMSIC as we call it. And lastly, we have advanced spectrum level interrupt controller. So all these 3 are optional, but the only thing is IMSIC requires CSRs because the programming of IMSIC is done through the CSRs. Other than that, there is no dependency between these components. So now we'll talk about each of these components. First, we'll talk about the extended local interrupts. The RISC-V privilege architecture already supports local interrupts, but then the AI specification goes ahead and makes it much better. So with the extended local interrupts of AI, we now have 64 local interrupts for both RV32 and RV64. And we also have configurable priority for each local interrupt. And there is also a new feature called interfiltering for filtering local interrupts from M mode to S mode and HS mode to VS mode. And also, I would like to highlight that there is no impact on the existing local interrupts number 0 to 12, which are already defined by the RISC-V specification, which means the addition of these extended local interrupts or the AISCRs are totally backward compatible with for the software actually. The next is the IMSIC. So MSIs are supported through IMSIC only, the incoming message signal interrupt controller. So there will be one IMSIC instance next to each heart, and then there is, since this is per heart, there is no limit on the maximum number of hearts supported. Each IMSIC instance will have multiple interrupt files. One M file is the M level interrupt file, one S file, then multiple guest files or the VS files. And then each interrupt file also consumes like 4 KB of physical address space. And like I mentioned previously, the configuration of this IMSIC or the interrupt files will be done through the AISCSR. That's why AISCSRs are kind of mandatory for IMSIC. Each interrupt file will support up to 2047 interrupt identities, which means it can support up to 2047 MSIs. And MSI virtualization is also supported through the VS files, but then this part is optional. So platforms which don't have H extension don't need to implement the VS files. So this is more like a pictorial representation of what I just said. So the IMSICs are per heart or near to each heart. We have one IMSIC instance for each heart, and then the device is like a PCI device or platform MMIO devices will directly do MSI writes to the various interrupt files as shown in this figure. So the other interesting part about this figure is that we have used two types of arrows. One is dotted or dashed arrows, and another is solid arrows. So dashed arrows will be using in subsequent slides as well for the MSI writes, and the solid arrows will be like physical wires or signals. Yeah. So another interesting feature about the IMSIC is that any heart can directly inject MSI to another heart by directly writing to the corresponding interfile associated with the target heart, which means that we have software injected MSI supported by IMSICs, and this feature can be used to implement by software to implement IPIs over software as software injected MSIs. It also means that for systems which have IMSICs implemented, those systems don't really require any special hardware for supporting IPIs at all privilege levels, including VS mode. And this is what this figure tries to show actually. So moving on to the third component of AIA, which is APLIC. So wired interrupts are supported using APLIC. We can also say that APLIC supersedes the PLIC because PLIC also supported just wired interrupts. So each PLIC instance in any platform would have hierarchical APLIC domains where all the device wired interrupts will actually connect only to the root APLIC domain. And then each APLIC domain will target a particular privilege level of other associated hearts. And we'll have our PLIC domain can also delegate some of the interrupts to the child PLIC domain. So we can think of this like the root domain can target the M mode external interrupts, and then can have child domains targeting the S mode interrupts of different hearts. And then M mode APLIC domain can decide the set of interrupts to delegate to the S mode, which is much cleaner than what PLIC does actually. And all the configuration of all the APLIC domains all is through a memory map register. So there is no requirement of AISCSRs like IMSIC. And then all the line sensing, priority, and target heart, we have separate register for each interrupt source. Then up to 1023, 1023 interrupt sources are supported, and the maximum number of hearts supported by each APLIC domain is like 16,384. Yeah, so pretty large number of hearts supported. And then we have two operating modes for APLIC. One is direct mode, which means the APLIC will be directly injecting external interrupts to the hearts. And the other mode is MSI mode, where APLIC will forward wired interrupts as MSI. Basically, it will have a state machine for each interrupt source and convert sends the wired interrupt and translate that to a MSI message. So again, so implementation, the APLIC implementations are free to implement one of these or both of these actually. So it will be based on requirement of the platforms, and it's really not mandatory to implement both these operating modes. Okay, this figure shows how the direct mode of APLIC works. As we can see, we have two domains. One is root and one is S level. And all the devices are connected direct to the root, and root is delegating some of the interrupts to the S domain, and each domain is connected to a particular privilege level of the hearts, and that's how it works in direct mode. And then we have more common case in future where we'll have both MSI as well as wired interrupts in a system, and then MSIs, wired interrupts will be converted as MSIs by the APLIC domains. And that is what this figure shows. And we see we'll have a mix of MSIs as well as wired interrupts. Yeah. And this is going to be a much common case in future. So in this case, like IMSIC will be typically directly taking the MSI interrupts coming from devices, whereas all the wired interrupts will go through the root APLIC domain and then delegate it to some other domain, and the domains will translate the wired interrupts to the MSIs. Yeah. So the most important goal of AI was always the virtualization support along with MSI and other new features. And so almost all components have support virtualization in some form. So for CSRs, we have separate VS mode CSRs for the guest or VM. And for the local interrupt priorities at the VS mode, we have dedicated HS mode CSRs, which help us virtualize those priorities. And for IMSIC virtualization, we already mentioned we have dedicated guest files or the VS files. And when a vCPU is running on a particular heart, a particular VS file of that heart can be assigned to the vCPU, which can be mapped in the G stage and also selected through the HS status register. And the hypervisor can inject emulated IRQs by directly writing to the MMI register of the VS file used by the guest. Or it can even hypervisor can also forward the device MSIs to the through the VS files using IMMU. And further, in certain conditions, even hypervisor can take a virtual interrupt from the VS file on behalf of the guest by using the HGAI CSR. And lastly, for the APLIC, it does not fully support virtualization. It only has a partial support for virtualization. It means that hypervisor will mostly trap and emulate all the MMIO registers of APLIC, but with MSI mode, there will be no MMIO traps while handling the interrupts. But this only applies to the MSI mode. For direct mode, we'll have traps even for handling interrupts. So having talked about the virtualization features, we'll now have some examples of how these virtualization features are used in a system. So first one is emulated IRQs. So this example actually shows hypervisor trying to inject an emulated IRQ. So over here, the hypervisor software from Heart X is trying to inject an emulated IRQ to some guest virtual CPU, vCPU A, running on Heart 0. So hypervisor will typically do MMI write, which will be targeting the VS file of Heart 0 used by the vCPU A, and once the MMI write happens, the vCPU will directly get an interrupt, and there will be no extra traps involved in handling the emulated IRQ. So other example is the virtualized IPIs. Like we mentioned previously, we can use interrupt files for software injected IPIs, right? So even the guest can use this feature, and this example shows exactly that. We have two virtual CPUs of the same guest, where vCPU B is trying to inject an IPI as a software injected MSI to some other vCPU running on some other hard. So vCPU B will do an MMIO write to the VS file used running on hard 0, the vCPU running on hard 0. So even in this case, once the MMIO write happens, the target vCPU will directly receive the IPI without any extra trap being involved actually. So, and this is quite a unique feature of AI as such compared to other major artists, where typically extra traps are involved in injecting IPIs for the virtual CPU guest or virtual CPUs. This example shows how the direct injections of MSIs will happen. So this, of course, will require an IMMU. So hypervisor will typically configure an IMMU such that whenever a PCI or a platform device used by the guest writes an MSI to a guest physical address, it will be translated into a MSI write to a VS file used by the guest, and so guest will directly receive the interrupt, And again, there will be no traps taken by the hypervisor or extra traps involved here as well. So this is like a direct injection of device interrupts taken to the guest or VM. And last example for AI is WFI wake-up. This is also very important because in a lot of scenarios, when a vCPU does not have any work left, it will execute a WFI instruction and it will trap to hypervisor, and the hypervisor will make the vCPU sleep. But then we need mechanism to wake up the vCPU again. So in this case, what will happen if a vCPU was using a VS file and it goes to sleep, then hypervisor will use the edge EI register to take the virtual interrupt on behalf of the guest so that it can wake it up actually. And yeah, the source of virtual interrupt could be anything actually. So let's move to the ACLEAN specification. We'll now talk about ACLEAN motivation and overview. So like Plick, currently most existing platforms use SciFi Clint. Okay, the specification is openly available and is owned by SciFi. It provides an M mode timer and M mode software interrupts. It does not have anything for the S mode software interrupts as such. And obvious limitations of the SciFi Clean that we found are that it does not allow platforms to implement just the M mode timer if required. Okay, because with IMSIG we don't require the IPI functionality or the software inter functionality, but then that's not allowed because the SciFi Clean as such is a composite device consisting of both the M mode timer and the software interrupts actually. And also the SciFi Clean does not define a way to for multiple M mode timers to share the same M time register. So typically in a multi-cluster platform, we'll tend to have M time compare register local to each clusters and a global M time register. So that kind of provision is not there in SciFi Clean. And then last limitation is that what we found is that with SciFi Clean, we have to use SBI calls for injecting S mode software interrupts because there is no provision for S mode software interrupts. So the ACLEAN specification, as we call it, or the advanced core local interrupter, directly supersedes the SciFi Clean specification and addresses all the limitations. And the most important thing is like it is also defined as a modular specification. It defines all functionality as separate devices. And this specification is also in stable state and no major changes anticipated. It has defined 3 separate modular devices. One is M timer, which is the M mode timer, then is MSWI, which is the M mode software interrupts device, and then SSWI, which is S mode software interrupt device. And the ACLEAN specification is totally backward compatible with the SciFi Clean specification. In fact, we can think of SciFi Clean as 2 ACLEAN devices. One is MSWI device at offset 0 hex and M timer device at 4000 hex. And since it is backward compatible to SciFi Clean, all existing platforms are by default compatible with the ACLEAN specification. So having talked about both AI and ACLEAN specification, it's about spending time like how both these specifications will solve problems in the future platforms. Like we said, both AI and ACLEAN specifications are actually quite modular, so there are a lot of permutation combination possible. But this over here we are trying to show that 4 common or most common combination that will occur in future actually. So each row in this table is one combination of interrupts and timers. And the first row is the legacy wired arrays, and this row is more about the existing platforms, how they do it actually, how they implement the interrupt and timer support. As shown over here, like it uses Plick for the wired interrupt. There is no MSI support, and for IPIs, MSWI is used for M level, and for everything else, it's SBI calls. The second row is like a natural extension of the legacy wired arrays, where Plick is replaced with an A-Plick, and more components of ACLEAN specifications are used, like both MSWI and SSWI are used. And for missing stuff, we have SBI call at the VS level. That's it. And the third row is like more advanced system where we also have MSI support now, but then we don't have virtual MSIs. So we have MSIs and wired, but no virtual MSIs. So that's the third row. So you'll see we'll have more IM6 at M level and S level, but VS level, it's all trap and emulate again. And last row is the most advanced system where it tries to use AI and AClean spec to the fullest, and there is no dependency on any SBI calls at that point. So moving on. Now moving to the last part of this talk, this is the software status for both AI and AClean. So we have extensively used, in fact, QEMU for all the proof of concept implementation for AI and AClean. So the QEMU AClean support is totally upstream now. And QEMU AI patches are under review since quite some time. They are in good shape now. So this is the link, and there is a link to the patches here. And then we have also extended the QEMU Vert machine to support the 4 interrupt and timer combination that we just described. And to use these combinations, we just need to pass additional parameters to the Vert machine name. So we just have 2 more parameters like AClean and AI, and to configure them in different ways. So the AI proof of concept has been done through QEMU, OpenSBI, Linux, KVM, and KVM2. So we have validated all the features of AI using QEMU. Okay. The DT bindings of AI were internally reviewed mostly. We need to send out patches soon for that. And then the links over here of all the repos point to the code bases that we have validated, they implemented. And AClean is much ahead in terms of upstreaming and the software support. The proof of concept was done with QEMU, OpenSBI, and Linux. DT bindings is also finalized and reviewed on the Linux mailing list as well. OpenSBI support is already upstream. Only Linux patches are sitting on the mailing list for quite some time now. But I think those will be much soon as well. They are in good shape. So that's all from our side. So if you have any feedback, questions on AI specific, please feel free to write to us on that AI mailing list. And so enjoy the rest of your RISC-V Summit. Thanks everyone.
Hi, I'm the other half of the team, John Hauser. I'm here to answer questions, if there are any.
We usually have to count to about 10 for the virtual community to catch up here. If you'd like, you may come up and use the mic. No, Anup is not here. John's going to take him. John worked with Anup, so yeah, go ahead. We'll let you.
Okay, so here. I'm not that short, though I am. Quick question: when do you think the MRF support will be there for the advanced interrupts in software?
The software support?
Software support. Yeah.
Well, Anup's later slides, the last slides, we're talking about that. You know, in QEMU with Linux device drivers, there is a prototype working already. I'm not sure, I mean, you know, if those prototype implementations prove to be adequate, then one could say it's already implemented in Linux, the software. That was your question, correct?
Yeah, I was wondering if the MRF support is there in the software. You're saying it's already there?
In the software, yeah. Now, there's a very legitimate question about when the hardware support is going to be there. Right now, only QEMU is the environment you can run that software in. Pieces of the AIA, the Advanced Interrupt Architecture, and the ACLINT, pieces of it are being implemented by various companies and reference the advanced PLIC is being developed but hasn't been released yet. But that's the hardware side of things. We are expecting to have a much more complete environment, including the hardware or demonstrations of the hardware, sometime in next year, 2022. Okay.
I haven't seen any questions online. So I think, unless somebody has one more, I think we may call that.
Okay, well, these interrupts are a complex topic. If you find yourself needing to, have them implemented, have them working, then you probably will have questions eventually. Do feel free to ask me today or weeks from now or whenever, because we'll be happy to deal with your questions or any issues that people feel they've discovered. We are trying to get the stuff that was presented today, we are trying to get it thoroughly reviewed and approved and ratified sometime in the next year, 2022. If there are no other questions, we can wrap this up. Thank you, guys.
Good. Give them one more round of applause.